Hey guys, welcome to the Flip Lab. Today I'm joined with one of my good friends I met a few years back, Austin Linney. Now, this dude's story is kind of crazy. With some past troubles he had, kind of found a new way of living. He found real estate, and over the past few years, dude, you've been traveling around. This guy has Airbnb businesses. He has a coaching business that has been taken off this past year.
We got a sales business now,
Sales business.
bookkeeping business,
You have a podcast that you've done.
2 podcasts.
How
Yeah.
many episodes in the past 2 years?
We're at 315 in a year and a half.
315 in a year and a half. So this dude is doing everything. He's traveling around the country. He's put over 150,000 miles on his damn truck over the past year.
We got to get a new one. I think we were just thinking the other day, like, you look through your pictures and you're like, fuck, we've been to a lot of places,
Yeah, man. So it's why I wanted to really have you on is just because I feel like you really you constructed the life that you want.
Yeah.
Kind of going off your podcast, but it's really cool to see just kind of your progression and how you always, I've kind of felt like, started with just giving back to other people, trying to provide as much value as you can. And now you've kind of found some verticals in all these different businesses, and you said did over $250,000 last year.
Yeah, in 6 months.
In 6 months.
6 months. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah, we'll get into that. That part that you mentioned is super important to me because I just had that conversation with a client this morning. When you're a networker and you're a connector, I asked one of the most successful businessmen I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, this dude is the rainmaker. They call him the rainmaker. Like, he negotiating fucking Pier 1 contracts and shit. Like, this dude's a baller, yeah. Right? And I said, man, I've been trying to monetize this networking shit for like years and I can't figure it out. And I go, how do you do it? And he says, you don't. And I was like, God damn it, that's not what I want to hear. And he said, but what you do is you just keep adding value and the right people will find you. And that's what's happened. And so what's interesting when you talk about all those businesses and you talk about all those things, you have to understand I have no money in any of those things. And it's all, the money is my social capital. Right. And my social capital is my networks. And, even my coaching clients, they're not just getting the coaching. Like, you need the best book editor in the country? I got you. You need the best wholesaler? Why am I going to teach you here's the weirdest thing about my coaching business. I coach like 3 amazing wholesalers, and I've never wholesaled a property in my life.
Interesting.
So why am I coaching them? Well, they're already making money, and they want the rest of their life to be great. And so that allows my other clients who want to learn wholesaling. Why are you going to learn it from me? How about you just learn it from the guy that's making $400K a year, and I'll just connect you with him? Yeah, just like that? Oh, yeah, just like that. And that's kind of the way it is.
Like, being the connector of high-level people is such a valuable and profitable skill set to have. And it really creates like win-win situations for everyone.
100%. And there's this guy I'm reading right now. I'm only reading his books this month just because I think I'm really loving his books. And his name's Sullivan. He's a high-level coach for 45 years. And when COVID happened, he's like, man, I got all this knowledge. I've coached the best people in the world. What if I just wrote like 40 books? And so he just wrote like 40 books in like 6 months. And it's all of what he's learned over 45 years. And he said, you have to understand something. As a high-level coach, I don't need to be the smartest guy in the room because I'm coaching the smartest guys in the room. And he said that they're always innovating. So I'm always up on the newest trend as well too. And you got to understand, I got a client in Japan, multiple ones in Canada in the health industry sector. I coach an entire company in the health sector. I got real estate guys. I got other people building businesses. And I always know what's going on because they're out there in the market. And so, part of what people don't understand is like, yeah, I love my coaching and my coaching clients are family, but I'm also in business with 3 of my coaching clients. Like, they're running my companies. And so, it's been this like ecosystem of just amazing value. And I think that's really what's propelled. And I say that number all flipped, like that 250 in 6 months. What I don't tell you is before that, I had the worst month ever in my businesses. I lost my biggest client because she was addicted to drugs and didn't tell me and was paying like 60% of my monthly income and ghosted me. Then came back 3 days later, and I knew in my heart that she was going to do it again. But I'm like, no, it's fine. I need to help her. And then she ghosted me again and decided not to pay me. And I was really frustrated, and my buddy who's very successful in what he does, like wildly successful. And he said, hey man, You put enough value in the market. You have way too many fucking friends, and start making offers. And so I was getting a massage, and I wrote this ridiculous. I've never told the story, by the way. I wrote this. I had a massage, and the number 200K just it went in my head for some reason. Like 200K. I said, what this was May 15th. I said, what if June 1st to December you decided that you weren't going to retreat, that you decided that you were going to stand up, and you were decide that you were just going to make a decision and you were going to push. And I said, you know what? So I went home on my whiteboard. I wrote 200K. I said, I have no idea where it's going to come from. I don't know where the fuck it's going to come, but I started making offers, and I started an Airbnb mastermind because that's my specialty.
Right.
I signed up 5 people for that. Boom, there was some money. Well, then I signed like 3 clients that week. Boom, boom, boom. Then I signed my biggest client, which we built an entire brokerage website building. That was like ridiculous, money. Then I sold a property. That was 50,000. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, you have this momentum. And then I started tracking everything. And the number was 200. And on December 28th, I signed another client, and I did 205.
It's crazy what when the power of putting something like on a board, or I was on a podcast yesterday with my buddy Ramon and his brother Rodrigo, the Wholesale Shark guys, and we were talking about how what's like one of the most important aspects of success, and I was like, it's believing that like whatever goal you have in mind, like it's already done. You just haven't kind of lived it out yet, but having that confidence, like when you put it on, it was like that was going to happen. Maybe you didn't know exactly how it was going to happen, but that belief you probably had was probably one of the biggest drivers of why you ended up doing it over those 6 months.
Well, I want to ask everybody a simple question, because it took me 36 years. Have you said out loud that I'm going to be successful? Like, have you fucking said it?
Right. Or
I could tell you where I was. I was with my ex-wife, and we had our last fight because we got divorced after that. And I told her, I said, nothing that you fucking do, and I said this, I said, nothing that you do is going to keep me back from impacting the world. And I thought to myself, that's the first time you ever said that out loud.
Like you believed it.
And I fucking believed it.
Probably,
yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough. Like some people, I just see them and they're struggling in business, and you can just tell that they don't believe in themselves.
No, dude, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. For all you fucking young puckers that are out there, I coach a guy that makes 10 million. I coach another dude that makes 5. I coach dudes that have multiple companies. I coach all these people. And I'll give you a little piece of advice. They all don't really believe in themselves. So you that's got a G bar in the bank or making $5,000 a month, you have just as much belief as they do because their shit's just as fucked up as you. So go out there and believe in yourself and understand that when you start, dude, one of the things that's never talked about in this world enough is momentum. I think momentum is everything. And I don't mean like momentum I mean just like when you're feeling good, you're feeling positive, you believe in yourself, you're working out, like shit just happens. It just happens. Like, I mean, you're a perfect case. You're working a job you didn't want to. Like, y'all fall out of a boat and make money right now. It's because that, like, and even if you have a setback, it's so mild because you can cover it up because you're so optimistic about where you're headed.
Yeah, and it's a reason why I struggle like taking the foot off the gas, because once you kind of have that momentum, you just don't want to kind of lose that.
Yeah.
And did you kind of learn that? Like, I mean, you've interviewed now 300 people.
I actually like 450 between the two podcasts.
450. So you talked to 450 people, mostly pretty successful business entrepreneur type people is what your podcast is focused on. Have you seen any like certain traits from everyone of why certain people are successful and kind of
there's a couple different things. A lot of the guys that are mega successful, and I just interviewed a guy that's super successful in land wholesaling and development. They got their fucking shit pushed in. They got beat up in the market in 2008. I mean, like bad, like lost everything. And those guys are now worth 30 million, 10 million, 15 million because they know the downside. And it's all these guys out here that this market that we're in right now is making them look hot, making them look soft. And these guys know what's up. But I tell you what, it's this the number one thing is that everybody is invested in the short term. They're not investing in the long term. There's two things that people doing that are screwing everything up for them. They're investing to get them out of something instead of investing to enhance.
Yeah, especially right now, like, I mean, you see a lot with these like NFTs and crypto and stuff like that.
Is it something to add on to what you're already doing, or are you trying to get out of a situation? And understand that investing by nature is long term. And so this is just something we're doing on the side, right? And then the number one thing, I've coached so many people and talked to a million people. The number one thing that everybody's looking for is consistency. That's the rub, is that they are self-aware enough to know that they're not perfect. And then they're saying, every day I'm going to go out and I'm going to win. And every day I'm going to do something that's going to get me closer to my thing. And I think one of the things that I've been doing with my clients is super important is I think in America, per se, especially in America, we're in decision fatigue. You know, you go into Starbucks and they got 8 fucking milks, and you know, like I tell Cassie at night, like
Too many decisions.
After I work all night day, I'm like, don't make me make a decision. Like I don't care anymore. And so the thing is like, ask yourself a simple question: what are the 3 things this week that if I knock over these dominoes, that'll fix everything else? Because I believe that I could look at your schedule and probably pull out about 60% of the crap that's on there. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What's the thing that matters? Simple as that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, kind of to your point, it was like last night, Dana's like, what do you like want for dinner? I was like, you're like the dinner person, just like make the fucking decision. Like I don't know.
Like, dude,
like,
on Mondays I have 15 Zoom calls because I coach that day. That's my coaching day. You know, and it's like, dude, when I get done at like 6, I'm just staring at the wall. Like I'm like, okay, like my brain is fried. I've been in people's lives all day making decisions. I got my own stuff and my own businesses. And so I think that we have to get to a place where more simple, like, and the thing is like what I get them to do, this is a trick that everybody can do, is I get them to tell me what the 3 biggest things that you want this year, right? And they could be business, personal, blah, blah, blah. They tell me those things. And I said, so if that happened for you, right, would that be a great year? Will be a fucking hell of a year. Okay. Well, that's all you do. Well, I know, but what about, no, that's all you focus on. You said it would be a great year.
Don't get this shiny object syndrome.
Dude, I have a client. True story. I have a client. The married couple. I coach them. They both have full-time jobs and like 3 dogs. And she goes, we're not doing enough. The whole first month of coaching, we're not doing enough. I said, tell me what you're doing. And she rattled off 30 things: wholesaling, Airbnb, flipping. They're part of 2 masterminds, getting coaching by me, like all this shit. And so for 6 months, they're fighting me on everything. Well, you're telling us to slow down. You're telling us we're not good enough. No, you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
I want you to realize what's important to you. And so now we're done with our coaching. Mm-hmm. They're doing 2 things. She just got a 50% raise at work. She got a bonus. They bought another property and they're buying another Airbnb. They're not doing all the masterminds. They're more in love than they've ever been. And we cut out 70% of the bullshit. And they're happy. And it's like, people are pushing towards something that's for somebody else. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what car you drive. It doesn't matter where the fuck you live. Like, are you fucking happy? Like, are you happy with what you're doing? And the thing is like, when I go golfing with my buddy who's 28 and he's retired, basically, if he wants, even though he owns 3 companies, but he left his corporate job. He's in Colombia right now. And he joined a country club. And he said, send me your goals. And one of his goals was, I'm going to play golf 5 times a week. And my laptop closes at 1 every day. And I'm like, that's a great goal.
Yeah.
And he's like internally happy. And you know, the conversation that we have all the time, you don't have to scale. You don't have to scale. He makes $60,000 a month. He's good. He lives off like $2,000 a month.
Right.
Well, you should go buy multifamilies. You should do that. No, bro, he's good. He adds 3 to 4 Airbnbs a year. They wholesale some properties. They buy some long-term stuff. He's living his life. He loves it.
Yeah, you see some people, you know, it's like they have so much success already, but they're like killing themselves over like doing all this other bullshit when it's, you know, the real scoreboard, like you said, is I look at it as like happiness and then like freedom to do whatever the fuck you want, which I think, you know, they're kind of related, but you know, some people could be happy, but then
you know what my favorite line is? All freedom has a price.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah,
does.
yeah. It does. Like you could be super happy too, like making your $30,000 a year or something. But then I don't know. All of a sudden, someone gets sick. You need to spend a lot of money to fly somewhere or pay for a surgery or whatever it is. That's where it's like you do have to make money.
Dude, I mean,
You know, I'm
look,
not into the complete hippie
dude, no,
shit
no,
of
no.
like
Oh,
no
fuck that
money.
shit.
You know,
My favorite dude on the entire planet. So I'm in Arte, which is Ed Milet and Andy
and Andy
Frisella.
Frisella, right? Yeah.
And then, but my favorite homeboy in the entire world is Alex Hermosi. And this dude's a fucking savage. And he makes 1.8 million a week with his
Holy shit.
businesses. He went from having $1,000 in his bank account to making 88 million in 1 year. And he wrote a book called $100 Million Offers. It's the best fucking book I've ever read in my life. He's writing 10 of them. His YouTube channel is out of control. He just sold his company yesterday. 60% of his two companies to a private equity firm. Probably made like fucking 500 million, maybe
Holy
more.
shit.
Baller. This dude is baller, and he gives all his information away for free because he doesn't give a shit. But what he says is he took off all last year. He took off all last year from his businesses because he doesn't need to run them, basically. He has like 5 businesses. And he said he was in a deep depression. And what he realized is everything that everybody's fighting for, he actually loves the work. Like, he loves the work. And so now he's getting back up at 3 a.m. and he's happiest he's ever been. And we need to get out of our head that we're going to go sit on a, and you know what? If you want to, go ahead. Great. I love to work. Like, I really do enjoy working and impacting people's life. Like, if you knew how big my vision was, like, people would freak the fuck out. Like, my mind map is like bigger than that computer over there.
Right.
Like, of like shit, how we're going to impact. But what you also don't understand is I have 11 years. Okay. What do you mean by that, Austin? Well, at 50 years old, I'm going to sell everything I don't want. And then for the next 40 to 50 years of my life, I'm going to give my time away to middle school and high school kids, teach underprivileged people, drug addicts, financial literacy, and investing. And that's my goal. And so I can get up for anything I need to get up for, knowing that the back half of my life is going to be traveling, raising my kids, and just hanging out.
Yeah,
And I still have
you really
businesses.
see the vision though, and I think a lot of people, you know, why they hate work is, you know, they just look at it as like they're going to work to pay the bills, and then you know what, they're gonna have to do that next year and next year, and there's no
There's
vision,
light.
there's no end, there's no life of like just them doing what you want to do. Compared to you, like you said, you were shoveling fucking snow at your Airbnb in Utah. I saw it snowed like 100 feet or whatever the hell.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And you know, you're not loving probably when you're, you know, who loves shoveling snow,
Yeah.
but probably your ambition and that strong of a why that you have and seeing the bigger picture, you're probably like, dude, who gives a shit if I'm shoveling some snow right now?
Yeah, I think that ultimately you have to understand also, and people don't get it. Like, you know, when you're addicted to methamphetamines and an alcoholic for 20 years, like, I'm just so happy to be feeling good. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I'm just
you've
so
seen
happy
rock
to.
bottom. And,
Yeah, I'm 70 pounds lighter, maybe 80. You know,
yeah, you're looking
70.
great these days.
You know, and I'm just happy. I'm in a great relationship. Life is good. I have more opportunities than I can even fucking handle at this point. And so here's the rub. That back to your vision thing.
Yeah,
They are trying to create something from survival mode. It doesn't exist.
right.
You cannot create from survival mode. So until you get above and up on your skis, then you can create the vision you want. But first, we have to change up the monotonous BS that you're in, right? And the thing is like what we do instead of like change is we talk about how the world owes us something, and we talk about how it's my mom's fault or it's my boss's fault. It's nobody's fault. You don't have to be at that job. You don't have to put that beer in your hand,
Yeah.
and you sure as fuck don't have to hang out with your family.
Drop that victim mentality.
Yeah,
You're in control.
this is not going to work. But yeah, so I mean, anybody, you know, one of the books that I probably buy like 80 of them for people. What you say when you talk to yourself, it's all about reprogramming your subconscious mind to believe and to change the way that you talk to yourself. And I really think that book is a foundational book because it will change the inner dialogue in your head and allow you to see something that's blinded to you currently, and it'll open up some doors for everybody.
Yeah, no, I love that, man, and yeah, it's a powerful thing. You got to fix yourself before you try to build some cool shit. But to transition off of that, man, I want to talk to you about. Everyone's asking me about Airbnbs. I don't do Airbnbs myself. I have some interest in it, but I know you ran other people's Airbnbs. You have your own. What's your thoughts on the short term rental game?
So once again, we're entered to predicate my previous conversation. We're entered in the short term, the new thing, right? And what you don't understand is like anybody that's listening, Airbnb is not new. Okay. And what I mean by that is people have been renting out their houses in Florida for a long time, way before there was an Airbnb or HomeAway. So the premise of it happening is not new. What's new is that the way that this is on a deeper level, the way that people are traveling and operating these days. That's what's changed. And COVID only enhanced that. And people are now working for a month this place or moving there or staying for 2
My
weeks.
sister traveled with her boyfriend. They both have full time jobs, but they were working virtually, and they stayed in Airbnbs around like Utah and Colorado for a few months.
Exactly.
That wasn't really a thing.
And the interesting thing about Airbnb is one of the things that I preach to everybody is like, everybody's quick to say that they're like, I want like 15 or I want 20. Like three in the right market, done by yourself, which I could teach you to just do it yourself, super easy because there's software for everything. You're good. You're done. Like if they are generating money, 3. You don't need 10. Because I'm telling you right now, I played the game and we're about to play it again. And I needed 2 years off to get ready for this one. Past like 5, it becomes a thing. And, I was talking, my CEO of my management company took a class from a guy who has 100.
100 Airbnbs?
Is 100. Shit. And he's about to add 50 more. And he has a certain type. He rents them all, so he doesn't own anything. And he only rents 1 bedrooms in major cities, and he rents 10 at a time. And his entire company is ran by 5 VAs, and he's killing it. Don't get me wrong, he's killing it. But he has a model, and he sticks to it, and that's what he does, right? And so we managed 27 in 7 states, so we were everywhere, and that was a fucking nightmare. And I've consulted on hotels, shipping container projects, all sorts of stuff. And one of the things that we're gravitating towards is 2 assets. So we started a fund, but it's a different fund. It's a customizable fund, so that's a whole nother can of worms. But we're going after luxury properties and experiences. That's it. I'm not renting a fucking 3-3 or 2-1 in fucking Tempe. I'm not doing that.
You want the big old
I want
$1,000
so
a night.
The one we just put an offer in on yesterday was 2.5 million. Sleeps 28, indoor movie theater, like the whole thing, right? And we're looking at 40 acres to do yurts and teepees and all sorts of crazy stuff. I really feel like that. Because what's happening now, if you really look behind the curtain, is the institutional money is coming into the short-term rental game. And when they come in, they're going to dilute the product and they're going to push down the price. And so the only way that you're going to be able to stick out is to have luxury or a higher end product, because
people are paying for experiences right now in this world, whether it's, getting a fucking golden steak out of a thing with music playing or whatever, just traveling just for a photo opportunity. So I just feel like experiences are something people really are valuing.
I believe, and I have no problem saying this, and I've said it 60 times in the last 6 months, experiences are the new currency.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the truth. Like, and the thing is like, we're not just going to stop at the houses. I want to partner up with a private jet company where we can hook them up with that. Or like we shop for them. Like, what liquor do you like? Like we shop for them and it's already there when they get there. Like, people will pay for convenience. Yeah, people will pay for convenience, right? And so I would pay for convenience.
Same. Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, like, people need to understand that you are running a business. Like, one of the greatest things I ever fucking heard in my life from a fucking investor that we worked with, and we didn't work with this guy, but he was like, "Yeah, I want to do Airbnb, but I don't want people in my house." And I'm like, "That's the premise of the thing." So yeah, so
I want to make a lot of cash flow, but I don't want to do anything, and I don't want anyone staying in the house. Okay.
But it's crazy, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, even and this is somebody who sees it all the time. Like, I'm blown away with some numbers I'm seeing these days. Like, really, I'm not lying to you. But like, so I just left Tahoe like 5 days ago, and we were running 3 hotels, so 28 rooms, 15 rooms, and 18 rooms. And one of the hotels was on Airbnb, but the new one he bought was not on Airbnb. So it was on website, booking.com, which was 40% of the booking, and Expedia. We put the entire hotel, each room on Airbnb, and it boosted bookings 50%. So we were at 100% occupancy from December 19th to January 6th. So yeah, it's crazy, man. So, people are looking for that thing, and understand that one of the bigger issues with Airbnb is everybody's looking for me to white label something. Like, what's this property going to make?
I noticed I tried underwriting Airbnbs and luxury
impossible.
ones. Dude, it seems extremely difficult to really know at the end of the year what's the net cash flow of this, because
It's almost impossible. And I try to tell people we shoot so under the numbers, like
you stay super
where the
conservative,
client gets pissed at us. And it's like, well, I saw this, and I go, yeah, but if I give you that and we don't hit it, then you're gonna be pissed. I'd rather go way under, and at least it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
we buy this movie theater house, and then, like, I don't know, something fucks up with the movie theater. It costs 10 G's to fix this damn projector. It's like, I'm just saying.
The number one tip I can give, the number one
tough.
tip I can give for anybody with Airbnb is remember that everything that you put in the property is something else they can bitch at. So it better make you money. So when you talk about all this cool stuff, let's get a pool table, let's get all this shit. That's just one more thing they can mess up.
One more thing that could break. One more thing they got to call you about. Oh, how's this feature work on this?
You have to operate an Airbnb with the assumption that they are the dumbest people in the entire world. And I don't say that.
Right.
But like, I'm talking about I've gone to Airbnbs where people have labeled everything. Like, they're just like, I'm not having it. And like, I could tell you stories like, I mean, like, you're just like, how are you getting dressed in the morning? Is this a question? Like, because understand this fact, and it's getting better. It's getting better over the years. But I was in the game like when Airbnb first started, and people didn't even know how to travel Airbnb. So understand that as much as you're learning Airbnb and it's still the Wild West, we still have a large group of the population that's still learning to travel Airbnb. So you're almost teaching them how to travel as well too. So it's super important because, people think that I have like 16 employees and this is like a full service concierge, like a Hilton. I'm like, no, you rented the house and the space. Like, I have people, we lost power in San Antonio for like 48 hours. And they were like, yeah, we're like, what's the problem with the power? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Call the fucking city. Like, like we had the same thing happen at the hotel, but like people.
And it's why sometimes I decided, like, we're going to Dallas this weekend. I just staying at a Marriott. Like, it's a different experience.
Here's a